Hi, my name is Jayden Klein. I am currently a student at Golden West College. And right now, I'm going to be talking about my learning experience during COVID 19, what's changed, what's gotten better, what's gotten worse. Right now, I just took I'm about to finish my Java course. And over the summer, I'm going to be taking some general ed classes during this time just to get my bearings and make sure I get enough credit to transfer. Um, in terms of adjusting myself to the new learning environment, once COVID hit, it never really, and I think a lot of people can say this themselves, but it never really occurs to you how much the school environment plays a role in your focus and your motivation to get stuff done until you have that school environment taken away from you. Uh, my adjustment into doing schoolwork from home has been a lot more difficult than doing it in an environment where everything around me is geared toward academia. When I go to when I physically go to a class and sit in a classroom and get to sit in front of a teacher and listen to him talk, that's all there is. That's all I can focus on. That's all I will focus on. That's the environment. There's nothing else around me to distract me. Obviously, I have my phone and stuff, but that's usually not allowed. The entire environment gears you to focus on whatever you're learning. But you try to transfer that to home and you try to get people to learn at home, it's a lot more difficult because home is where you're supposed to relax. Home is supposed to be your downtime. And home has a lot, and I mean a lot of distractions, whether it be your family, whether it be, maybe the games you have, maybe your friends want to hang out, or just simply just being at home can just make you feel unmotivated, and just laying in bed can really just drain all the energy out of you. So it makes it really difficult, actually. Uh, Going into the lockdown and having to learn online, at first seemed like, oh my God, it's going to be great. I don't have to go. But now, a year later, I can definitely say I would much rather be going physically to a class than attending it online. Um, as far as my family, me and my family have been doing very, very well. Unfortunately, my mother, who works on big shows, lost a lot of her job opportunities for the time being. But for me, I've had a part time job since 2019, and I've been able to keep it throughout the entire pandemic. I've been able to work it and make money for me and my family, and have not gotten sick at all in the process, not even a cold or anything. So I've been really lucky during this lockdown and during the entire pandemic to just be able to keep really just doing what I'm doing uh, in terms of working and stuff like that. So yeah, so in terms of the pandemic, it's going. I'm getting past it really, really easily. Um, as far as the social distance learning format, I think, and of course, this is kind of a symptom of the fact that we had to rush into this so quickly. But a lot of online courses, a lot of courses that were once in person and not geared towards online, had to scramble to get online, and a lot of them are very, very messy, and they're not built well to be online in the first place. So I think it does hurt a lot of classes in that fact, especially because um, before the pandemic, things like Canvas, online modular sites that give teachers the ability to pretty much do everything on here, was a it's very contentious. Depending on who you ask, either teachers love it or they hate it, and now, because of the pandemic, everyone has to use it. And even if teachers hate it, even if they barely know how to use it, you got to use it. And that can cause some problems, like I said, in terms of a lot of classes aren't really made for online, or maybe a lot of teachers' courses aren't built well inside of Canvas. So you get a lot of problems in that front. in terms of like the quality of teaching, I also think Zoom meetings and stuff like that, teaching through those comes with the same problems as I mentioned earlier. It's just the environment. Everyone's sitting at home in front of a screen instead of sitting together, sitting right in front of your lecturer, being in person there with them in an actual place with no other distractions is a much, 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 much better experience than sitting at home with, like I said, it could be your family distracting you. It could be literally the computer you're sitting in front, or the computer you're sitting in front of is distracting you from the lesson that you have. All types of stuff can just get in the way of the teaching experience once everyone's at home, because home is not where school is, and a lot of things interfere once you have to smash those two together because of a pandemic. So yeah, I would say overall, it's been a lot more difficult. Just learning, being a student in general during this pandemic, the being having to be online and having to stay at home has increased the amount of distractions drastically. And if you're already a distracted person like me and will find any reason not to do this assignment or not study and do stuff like that, those going physically to a class and learning there and stuff like that and going to those environments really does help, and it hurts a lot to have that taken away from you. So I'd say, for any advice to students in the future, well, and like I'll preface this, online learning is good. I you can do online classes very, very well. It's just that when you have to take classes that were in person and then convert it to online, it doesn't translate that well all too often. It doesn't translate too well. So I say, any advice for students, I would just say try to recognize, if you're struggling during like trying to learn online or learn remotely, just try to identify what you think is distracting you in your own house while you're trying to learn. Try to identify that and be aware of it if you're struggling to stay focused or struggling to study or do an assignment and stuff like that, because that very well could be your problem. A lot of us are just too distracted at home these days. But yeah,